Lagos. A city where everyone is running, chasing buses, chasing money, chasing hope. But on one flooded morning in Oja, a widow with only 850 naira in her wrapper stopped running, because someone had fallen. A man, middle-aged, trembling, gasping by the roadside near Mobile Estate Road. People walked past. Some slowed down, then kept going, but she stopped, and that single decision would one day rewrite her entire life story. Grace Williams was 28, a widow, a mother, a survivor. Her husband, David, had died the year before, a sudden illness that drained their savings and left her with one suitcase, one child, and 1,000 memories. Every morning Grace tied her scarf, said a short prayer, and whispered, "Lord, help me stretch little into plenty today." She sold bean cakes by the roadside, cleaned apartments when she could, and braided hair under a mango tree when the weather was kind. When the sun grew too hot, she found herself with an old church bulletin that still carried the verse, "Be not weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap." She clung to that verse like rent money. Life wasn't easy, but Grace wasn't bitter. She was the kind of woman who would give you her last bread if you were hungry and pray that God replaced. That morning, the sky was angry. The rain came down as if the clouds had something to prove. Grace pulled her scarf tighter and clutched a black nylon bag to her chest. Inside were 2 sachets of milk, 1 small bag of pap, and her last 850 Nigerian nairas. Her plan was simple: collect payment from her laundry customer, buy Gary, and stretch the week. But Lagos had other plans. As she approached the corner near University View Estate, she saw him, a man on the ground, clutching his stomach, half his shirt soaked through. He was coughing, trembling, trying to sit up. People passed quickly, muttering, probably drunk. But Grace's feet refused to move. A still, small voice inside whispered, "Help him." She hesitated, then sighed. "Okay, Lord. But please keep me safe." She knelt beside him. "Sir, can you hear me?" His eyes blinked weakly. "Water. Please." She looked around, a kiosk nearby, closing because of the rain. "Please, 1 pure water." She cried. The woman at the stall frowned. 100 naira. Grace opened her nylon bag and froze. 850 left, that was dinner, transport, and hope. But the man coughed again, his hand clutching his side. Grace took out a crumpled 100 naira note and handed it over. She ran back, lifted his head gently, and poured the water carefully. He drank, coughed, then sighed deeply, the kind of sigh that sounds like survival. "Hospital," Grace said. "We need to go." He shook his head. "No. Just dizzy." But she saw the pain in his eyes. "Sir, please, let's go. You need treatment." She flagged a motorbike. The first rider saw the blood and hissed, "I'm not carrying anyone who'll stain my seat." She tried another. Then another, each one refused. Finally, an older rider slowed down, soaked but kind. He looked once at Grace's worried face and said simply, "Madam, enter. God will bless you." At a small chemist down the road, the woman behind the counter cleaned the man's wound, a deep cut on his side. After wrapping it neatly, she said, 1,500. Grace's heart sank. She looked at the man, pockets torn, empty. He avoided her eyes. Without a word, she opened her nylon bag. 750 remained. She handed it over. The chemist said, "You still owe 750. Grace sighed. "Please, I'll bring it. I stay near Mobile Estate." The woman studied her face, then nodded. "Okay. Go." As they stepped back into the rain, the man turned to her, voice soft. "You paid. For me." Grace smiled, weak but real. "We all get rain, sir. Some of us just forget umbrellas." He chuckled faintly. "Thank you. What's your name?" "Grace." He nodded. "I'm Michael. I won't forget this." He asked the bike rider to stop by University View Estate. "I live nearby," he said. Grace helped him down, waited until he was steady, and watched him disappear behind the tall gate. Then she turned, drenched, shivering, and smiled up at the cloudy sky. "Lord, I gave you my last 850 Nigerian nairas. Please don't forget me either." She walked home in the rain. 2 days passed. The sky had cleared, but Grace's mind still felt cloudy. Her body ached from the rain, but her heart was light. At the compound tap, neighbors argued when Linda, the gossip queen, burst in with news. "You people have heard what happened at University View Estate? Convoy everywhere. They say the man who collapsed is a rich chief. His family is looking for who helped him, even offering a reward. Buckets froze in mid-air. Grace laughed lightly. A reward? In Lagos? I doubt it. Still, something fluttered inside her chest, that tiny voice again. You never know who you helped. Later that night, as she spread the mat for her son, she prayed quietly, Lord, I didn't help him for money. But if this is a test, teach me patience. And if you want to bless me, I won't refuse. The next afternoon, Grace was rinsing clothes when the security man called out. Madam Grace, some people are here for you. At the gate stood a shiny black Prado, engine humming like a lazy lion. Two men stepped out, umbrellas ready. Good afternoon, Are you Mrs. Williams? Yes. Our boss would like to see you. Which boss? Mr. Michael Adams. Her heart jumped. I don't know any Mr. Michael Adams, she said carefully. One man smiled. Perhaps you know him as just Michael. The water slipped from her hands. Her mind raced the man from the gutter. Thank you, sir. God bless you and your family. Michael smiled. He already has. And he's using you to remind us. Daniel stood. There's something else we'd like to show you. Please, come. They drove a short distance to a new complex, fresh paint, still smelling of promise. One shop stood empty, a sign reading to let. Daniel handed her a key. We know you braid hair. We spoke to your neighbors. This is yours for a year, fully paid. Grace's hands trembled. Sir, I don't understand. Michael chuckled. It's simple. We want to help you build something from the same kindness you showed a stranger. He placed his hand on her shoulder, fatherly, gentle. Use it well. And when God blesses you, remember to bless others. Tears escaped through Grace's fingers. Lord, she whispered. So this is how you remember the one who gave 850 Nigerian nairas. Daniel added with a smile, there's only one condition. Train 2 girls from your neighborhood for free for 6 months. We'll sponsor their starter kits afterward. Call it Operation Pay It Forward. Grace nodded through tears. That one I will do gladly. And so, beneath the Lagos sun that afternoon, a new chapter was written on the walls of Mercy. They called it Grace Beauty and Braids. The signboard shone like a promise. Grace swept floors, arranged combs, and hummed softly as she worked. Daniel visited quietly every few weeks. Michael stopped by on Saturdays, pretending he was just passing by. The shop became a light on that street, laughter, gossip, and hope braided together like extensions. Each night, after sweeping the floor clean, Grace would kneel by the mirror and pray. Father, thank you for turning rain into rain, for turning a gutter moment into a garden of grace. Teach me to hold this blessing lightly but serve faithfully. Her reflection smiled back, the face of a woman who had lost almost everything, and found something money could never buy, God's attention. Within months, Grace Beauty and Braids had become a small miracle everyone wanted to explain. Women whispered when they saw the new dryers, the painted signboard, and the crowd of happy customers. Some smiled and said, God has remembered her. But others hissed quietly, she must have found a rich man. Nobody gets this lucky. You don't just wake up and open a fine salon like that. These widows, they know their way. One evening, she noticed a teenage girl standing near the window, watching others get their hair done. Her eyes were tired, her clothes plain. Come in, my dear, Grace said. Sit. You want to braid your hair? The girl hesitated. Auntie, I don't have money. Grace smiled. That's okay. Sit down. She braided the girl's hair for free. The girl's gratitude was louder than the gossip. That night, Grace placed a transparent jar by the counter with a handwritten note. If God has blessed you, drop something small. If you're in need, take something small. At first, customers laughed. But soon, coins appeared. Then notes. The dignity jar became its own quiet ministry, silent hands feeding silent needs. One afternoon, the Lagos sky turned grey again. Rain came without invitation. Lightning struck near the power lines outside the complex. There was a flash, then a loud pop. The generator coughed once, twice, then died. 2 hair dryers went dark instantly. Jesus! One apprentice screamed. Smoke curled up from the plug. Grace ran to switch off the main line, heart pounding. By the time the rain stopped, 2 dryers and a standing fan were gone, burned out. She sat on the floor, water dripping from her wrapper. her breath shaky. Customers left. Appointments cancelled. By the next week, her savings were nearly gone. Her apprentices watched her face, expecting tears. But Grace only whispered, "The same God who gave will give again." Still, at night, when the street was quiet, she cried. She refused to call Michael or Daniel. Pride? Maybe. But it was more than that. She wanted to prove that her success wasn't just mercy from rich people, it was favor from God. So she adjusted. She and her girls began braiding outside under a big umbrella during the day. She cut prices, doubled effort, and smiled even when her wrists ached. Customers returned. By the end of the month, she saved enough to buy 2 used dryers, not brand new, but hers. When Michael visited the following week, he smiled in quiet awe. "You didn't call," he said softly. Grace shrugged. "I've borrowed enough miracles, sir. It was my turn to try faith." Michael nodded slowly, eyes wet. "Good. Miracles are not for laziness." They both laughed, a small, pure laughter that sounded like worship. 2 weeks later, Grace came to open the shop early and found a new generator parked outside. Brand new, no note. No name, just a small paper on top with one line written neatly, "You passed the test." She covered her mouth, tears spilling. The handwriting looked like Michael's, but she said nothing. Instead, she knelt right there on the dusty floor, lifted her hands, and whispered, "Lord, thank you for trusting me with trouble before blessing." Her son, Ethan, had grown quieter since his father's death, but in the salon, something began to change. He'd sit at the corner, handing out combs, helping sweep hair, even announcing styles with ceremony. "Auntie is doing Ghana weaving." Customers laughed and tipped him coins. He started saving them in a jar labeled "For my mum." Every evening, he'd bring her the jar and say, "When it's full, we'll buy something big." Grace would hug him, whispering, "You are already something big, my son." One Friday evening, Michael visited again. He had become more like a father, gentle, kind, full of stories about life before money. Ethan greeted him happily. "Uncle Michael, see, my mum's salon has light again." Michael smiled, patting his head. "That's good, my boy. You help her well." Ethan nodded proudly. Then Michael turned to Grace. "Ethan's school is organizing a debate next month. He said you haven't registered him yet." She sighed. "The form fee is small, but things are tight." Michael smiled knowingly and slipped an envelope into Ethan's palm. "Don't tell Mum it's from me. Say it's from an angel." Ethan grinned. "Yes, sir." That night, Grace found the money under her pillow. She didn't need to guess who the angel was. She smiled and whispered, "Lord, you never get tired of proving you care." The day of the debate came. The hall was packed with parents and children in neat uniforms. Ethan stood in front. Tiny but brave. His topic, wealth should be measured by kindness, not money. His voice trembled at first, then grew stronger. He told a story about a woman who gave her last 850 Nigerian nairas to save a stranger in the rain, and how that act of kindness changed everything. He didn't mention names. He didn't need to. In the audience, Grace covered her mouth. Tears ran freely. Beside her, Michael sat quietly, hands clasped, eyes wet. When Ethan finished, the hall went silent, then erupted in applause. He won. That day, Ethan didn't just win a debate, he gave his mother back her pride and her story. In this city where everyone is rushing, one woman stopped, and heaven stopped with her. Because God doesn't measure what you give, He measures what it costs you to give it. And when you give from the little you have, He multiplies it into more than you imagined. That's what Grace's 850 Nigerian nairas became: a shop, a school, a second chance, and a reminder that sometimes the miracle isn't in the money, it's in the moment you choose compassion over convenience. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs hope today, because God still remembers.